¿Cómo están, mi gente? So, I've been procrastinating doing a video partly because I want to do it on time management. I've been wanting to focus most videos on something that I think is important or something that I think I'm going through and that perhaps you might be relating to. Now, the hardest part about that is that I have this weird commitment that if I'm going to do a video, I've got to then be able to always do that thing. Because if I'm going to make a video, it's because I believe in it and I'm doing it myself. Just trying to be honest, and I'm not gonna lie, time management might be one of the hardest subjects that I have to go through, and when I make that video, I'll explain why. But today, I want to talk about meal planning. Alright, so the reason I want to talk about meal planning is because it's probably one of the hardest things to do when you're going to school, working full time, and trying to sleep because you work graves and you have a baby. But more importantly than all those things is because my wife and I have two distinct cooking styles, which causes it to be a problem.
Not just distinct, very different.
Let me explain. Okay, you see, I grew up in a home where I didn't even know what a recipe was until maybe 7th grade. I know, you're like, Danny, how did you not know what a recipe was? You see, my mom didn't cook with the recipe. I mean, she might have had a recipe up in her head, but I never saw her open up a cookbook and say, oh, I need a cup of sugar, yeah, that never happened. I just saw my mom do it. And my mom always went to, like, when we go to restaurants, she would be eating something and she'd be like, you know what, I think I can make this at home. And so she'd be like, I think it's got this and this and this, and then she'd go home and like almost make it. Sometimes it'd be good, sometimes it'd be okay. But in any case, she would just do it. And so the way I learned cooking was just by kind of like thinking of what the recipe might have and then kind of doing it. Or looking at it and say, I think I can do that. Maybe looking at what ingredients there are and then just putting it together. Now my wife, on the other hand, is a different story. Okay, let me just have my wife talk to you about it because I'm gonna slaughter this.
So my mom didn't really use a recipe either, but she didn't critique the foods like you and your mom do and say, oh, it needs more of this, it should have had this. She just kind of ate it, like most people do. But it's not because that's how my mom cooked. It's my personality that makes me need a cookbook because I'm very precise and I like to know exactly how things should be. Even recipes I've made a bazillion times and I know all of the ingredients and I really know the recipe. I still pull out the cookbook to make because I have a little bit of OCD. And so I feel like I need a recipe book to make sure that I don't do things wrong.
Now, Pinterest is kind of one of those beautiful things for, married couples in general, because then you can like look, you don't have to buy cookbooks, you can just like scour the Pinterest deep dark food webs. The only problem is that you always have to click like 7 times before you get into the secret recipe inside the blog, inside the other blog, inside a picture. Isn't that true? Isn't that the worst? In any case, so let me show you what usually happens when I try to cook dinner from a Pinterest recipe. Sweetheart, I think, do you think some chili powder would be good?
Does it call for chili powder?
No, but I think it might be good.
The recipe doesn't call for chili powder.
You think I should put another onion in there?
How much onion does the recipe call for?
A half onion.
Then just put half an onion in it.
You think I should add some chicken to this vegetarian meal?
Not if you want it to be vegetarian.
Hon, is the green one or the orange one a 3rd cup?
I don't know, what does it say on it?
I can't read it.
Just use the middle ones. Babe, why didn't you use the prosciutto?
I forgot. It's still gonna be good. So even though I might not always do a recipe perfectly, and my wife always loves to have a recipe, we still work things out. The hardest part though is sitting down and coming up with what to do. And the key thing I think that comes down to time management and planning out the things that we need to get done so that the rest of the week runs more smoothly. And I will tell you, if you've never meal planned, then you know you obviously don't have a kid, which is okay. But when you have a kid and you are trying to be a seamless and, or if you're just married, it's really important to be able to have that time to not have to think about what are you gonna eat, because decision making at the end of the day is always the hardest part. So you might end up, you know, going to McDonald's, you might end up going to fast food or going to food that you didn't want to do because you didn't meal plan. Our game plan is still up in the air. We sometimes do really good at making it to get that meal plan at the beginning of the week, and then we go shopping and then everything's good. And sometimes we don't. And I think the biggest part of why we don't get those meal plans done is because my wife just doesn't know what would be good for us to eat, and she wants some ideas. And I'm always like, well, I'll eat anything. And she's like, I know you'll eat anything, but what do you want to eat? And so the key point here is sit down, have a good conversation with your spouse, your significant other, or your roommate, and say, hey, I'm willing to cook if you're willing to help me decide what you'd like to cook, and we're willing to go and get everything that we need so we can have home cooked meals throughout the week. It's really simple. We just got to get it done. This is another Danlog for you. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to cooking, whether you're a recipe cooker or just a by the book or by the feels cooker. Hit that like button down below, and remember, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next week.